Even Khaleesi Jenkinson got new trainers, and her parents are proper tight.
They called her Khaleesi for a start.
Well, I'm depressed.
Yeah, it's all that Billie Eilish you listen to.
Eilish. How many times?
Whatever her name is, she'd do well to crack a smile, that one.
Maybe she ain't got a lot to smile about. I can totally relate.
She's been like this all day.
Like what?
A proper Mardy cow.
Ruby!
You might be all right wearing Freshco 4-stripe, but some of us actually care about how we look.
Will you stop going on about them trainers? Honestly, hold up, you don't know you're born.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 373 of the Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that... I do not like that Becky Swain. I do not like her deceased Fane. I do not like her Spanish tan. I do not like her return plan. I do not like her story stench. I do not like her stupid bench. I do not like her trying her luck. I wish Becky Swain would get to...
Fuck.
I'm Gavin.
And I am shocked, I say, to discover that D.S. Swain was once married to Roxanne from the movie Megamind, played
That
by
is
Tina Fey.
A joke that maybe Tina Fey would get.
And also, every Gen Z in the audience.
Not every Gen Z in the audience.
Only the cool ones.
No, sadly not. Anyway, how are you this week?
Ugh, run off my feet.
Oofed.
Yes. It's been very busy in the auction department.
Oh, hold on. I need to press another button. I do not like that auction talk.
Yes, you do. Don't lie. Yeah, the house that Estella and I went to the estate sale last weekend for, finally all of the stuff that's supposed to come back for auction has come back for auction, including a number of big, massive book sets for yours truly to catalog, including a 46-volume antique book set, Library of the World's Best Stories or something, from 1890. So, yeah, my back is very mad at me, but it'll live.
It'll live.
It'll live. And I'm just not going to talk about anything else this week. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm a little disappointed that my poem got no reaction whatsoever.
You do not like green eggs and ham. You do not like them.
It was actually more
Gav, I
based
am.
on the John Oliver, I do not like Ted Cruz, which in itself is based on the Dr. Seuss.
Yes, green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. It's weird that I could probably quote the whole book right now
Go for
as
it.
we're talking, but I'm not going to.
What's the matter? Chicken? Oh, no, I've been very, very busy.
Yes.
And very, very stressed.
Yes.
And that probably looks to continue into next week. So,
For a number of reasons.
just work.
None of them good.
No, none of them good, but, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably going to have to go in early next week. Every day next week as well.
Oh, no.
So I'll just be dropping you off, and instead of enjoying my little hour downtime at the Dunkin' Donuts, I'm just going to go straight to work. No Dunkin' Donuts for me.
Oh, that's a wee
No
shame.
Dunkin' Donuts coffee,
That's heartbreaking.
because I don't eat the donuts.
The,
Although,
the croissant is quite good in the morning, I discovered this week.
yes, they're very good. And I kind of like how they've remodeled, where it's kind of trendy. It looks like they've got bar pulls for coffee and tea and mocha latte, I assume. I don't know.
That's in a gas station, though.
Right, yeah.
So you just sit in the gas station then?
They have a seating area in the back. I sit in one of the booths. It has booths.
I'm not planning on hanging about in a gas station in the morning until I'm
Booth.
at least in my 60s.
Yeah, I drop you off, and then I place my order on the app, and then I park, and I go right in, grab my cup of coffee and hit a booth to check my emails and maybe read a book.
Without having to speak to a single person.
Exactly. Exactly right.
Oh, it's the dream.
Yes.
Anyway. I was going to say we've got an awful lot to get through this week, but we really don't, because
really
there's only a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Thanks to the NTAs. Does that crop up in Corrie News?
It doesn't.
Because they won nothing.
That's right.
As I predicted in my blog last week.
You predicted that they would win nothing?
I predicted they would win nothing. And also in my blog, I did a little bit of Pearson analysis on the number of storylines that happen in a week and the scores that we and the Twitter viewers give. And there is a definite, if moderate, inverse correlation between the number of storylines and the score. In other words, the fewer the storylines, the higher the score.
Yes, but does correlation prove causation?
It doesn't, but it's a useful indicator.
Yes. It's also a useful indicator that a television awards show in which the people get to vote.
This is a mistake across the world. Letting people vote is a mistake.
For TV shows. For TV shows.
Oh, sure. Generally speaking, though, they don't always make the greatest decisions. But anyway.
That's true.
Shall we preamble, my dear?
Yes, please.
Give us some of that avoiding the elephant in the room, Corrie News.
I do have to say, though, the cast looked lovely on the night of the NTAs.
Always look fantastic.
Sue Devaney in that pantsuit. I just love it. I want one.
She could be a Charlie's Angel.
Sure.
Well, they were fond of a pantsuit, weren't they?
I don't think so. Were pantsuits popular in the 70s? Or are you talking about Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu and the other one?
Yeah. I'll hold my counsel on that.
Okay.
You talk about Corrie News. I'm just going to think about something for a while.
Okay, go ahead. Ben Shepherd has stated he is ready, willing, and able for a cameo on The Cobbles. Mary has her fingers crossed. Yeah. He was asked on the British equivalent of The View, whose name escapes me.
Loose Women? Or This Morning?
I think it was This Morning, actually. You know, they point blank asked him.
All the
He's like,
bigger stories are on This Morning.
You know, the Coronation Street character, Mary, he's obsessed with you. Would you ever go on and do a cameo? And he's like, heck yeah, I would. So, balls in your court, Coronation Street.
Well, we can look forward to Ben Shepherd appearing on Coronation Street and possibly being shot in the ass with an arrow.
Yes.
Which would require Gail to come back.
Which
wouldn't be bad.
And this time, it would be the real Ben Shepherd and not Ben Shepherd on a blanket or a coffee cup.
I think they also spoke to Patty Clare this week.
Yes.
And they spoke about Ben Shepherd with her as well. And she was trying to think in terms of the character to answer those questions. But
right.
Yes, Mary does have an infatuation over Ben Shepherd.
Yes, she does.
I mean, This Morning just really gets to the core of the story, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
This is what hard-hitting journalism is all about.
That's true.
It's impressive.
Thank you. Vicky Myers.
I'm thanking you.
Well, because I'm the one who's presenting these news to you about...
No, I'm congratulating This Morning.
Right. Well, you could...
Rather sarcastically.
Well, you should also rather sarcastically congratulate me.
Great job, Helen.
There
you go.
For picking up the scoop from not Loose Women, the other one, This Morning.
This Morning.
Vicky Myers, a.k.a. Swain, has pulled out of the Audience with Coronation Street tour due to scheduling conflicts and will be replaced by one Sue Devaney for the appearance in Glasgow, which we should go.
Sure.
Let's get tickets and go to Glasgow to see Sue Devaney and tell her how much we love her. I'm sure she wants to hear it.
Yeah, it was a disappointing last-minute cancellation from Vicky. One could hear the screams from across the Atlantic.
Multiple screaming of all of the Swarlas. There was a deep disturbance in the force.
The Swarla Force, yes.
A billion voices screaming as one, and then silence.
I don't think I noticed the silence.
Because you're not Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a different Scotsman. And Englishman. He was Scottish when he was young and he was English when he was old. Anyway, and finally, Colson Smith has had his car broken into recently.
Oh, no.
And has had to increase security at his home. This sounds like a job for Officer Craig Tinker.
PC Tinker, if you will.
Yes.
Well, that sucks.
Why would you break into Colson Smith's car? Look at him. He wouldn't hurt a fly.
I don't think that's why people typically break into people's cars.
Yeah, but you should be nice to people like Colson.
Maybe the person who broke into his car didn't know it was his car.
It's quite possible. But still.
Unless his license plate is Tinker.
Which, who knows, maybe it is.
I don't think we're setting anything on fire this week with Corrie News.
Well, that's because we're avoiding the elephant in the room, and that's Corrie News.
There's an elephant in the room for Corrie News?
Yeah, the fact that they didn't win any NFTs.
Oh, we've already spoken about that.
Yeah, I know.
EastEnders run quite a bit.
Yeah. We don't do a podcast about EastEnders, though, do we, Gav?
Damn it. I can't watch Cockneys. I just can't. When there was Cockneys in Coronation Street, I struggled. Our elephantless Corrie News leads us as seamlessly as ever onto our feedback section I like to call Everyone's a Critic.
Physical mail!
Physical mail!
Woo!
We've got physical mail, Helen.
Yes, it's a postcard featuring our nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
The Washington District of Columbia.
Yes. Where all the smart people are. Greetings from D.C. This time I come with good news for you. I am a Gen Z listener of the podcast and watcher of Corrie. 1997. That's kind of on the cusp of millennial, isn't it? Looking forward to listening to you both on the drive back. Best wishes, as always, VB Amy? P.S. I keep forgetting to get stamps when I travel and end up sending from home. Whoops.
VB Amy from Virginia Beach.
Yes, VB Amy.
When I see VB Amy, though, I think Victoria Bitter, which is a beer in Australia.
Thank you so much, Amy. This is a very lovely postcard
It's a lovely postcard.
of the District of Columbia, which...
Now, it's in portrait mode, so we've got a little bit of variety in our postcards now, I think.
Yay.
We really need to get that corkboard up.
Yes, it's sitting right here. You're in this office.
You're sitting
What's
right
your
next to it.
life? You can put it up. I got the thing. It's your turn.
Let
Thank
me
you.
add it to the
Thank you
to
very
the bundle.
much,
We've got quite the
Virginia
bundle.
Beach Amy.
We've got quite the bundle happening here now. I think we're going to have quite the collection when we finally get that.
Although I
that
still think
corkboard up.
you're a millennial and not Gen Z, and that is not an insult. Because I love people from both of those generations, and also Gen X.
Yeah, 1997 is the first birth year for Gen Z.
Really?
Yeah, credit somebody for knowing what generation they are.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is kind of on the cusp. It's like
Does it matter?
where one begins and one ends. I guess not. I always think of Nick as millennial, and he was born in 98. Because he just seems very millennial. But anyway.
He
Thank
though
you.
thinks of himself as Gen Z and has said so.
Yeah.
So maybe listen to people when they tell you things like that.
Right, yes. But, you know, he was alive for 9/11, so that's... I generally think of people who were alive for 9/11 as not being Gen Z. But anyway, this is very fascinating for a Coronation Street podcast. What's next?
None of this is fascinating. None of it. However, dear listener, we'll move on to our other items from our mailbag. But thank you, yes, to VB Amy for your postcard.
Yes.
Request to other people who would maybe be sending us a postcard, write slightly bigger, because Helen's going to read it out and her eyes are old.
Not as old as yours.
And yet I can read it out. Gary Lee writes on YouTube, sipping my Yorkshire tea, pondering how Todd, Christina or anyone can sleep on that tiny couch. That tiny couch has seen some action
Yes, it has.
of late,
Yes.
of people far too big to sleep on it.
Correct.
Well spotted, Gary. Wendy writes in, following up from last week. Nope, my mistake. I think it's Rita's wig backwards. Thank you for clearing that up.
Absolutely.
Then Cheeky writes, this week's Corrie was a study in extremes, moments that reminded me exactly why I love the show, and others so lazy, so insulting, that I wanted to switch the telly off. Every time Kevin and Carl square up, I feel like I'm trapped in the rerun. Same garage, same shouting, same tedious cycle. It's noise and nothing more. I don't care, and the show clearly doesn't either. David finding that pregnancy test, though, was a masterstroke. The misdirect with Lily worked, but the payoff was pure chaos. The last thing David needs is another child, and the disbelief in his face was comedy gold. Then, the stolen car. My chest actually tightened watching it when Dylan and Brodie tore past George and the camera cut to Betsy. I knew she was about to be hit. Well, yeah, because she throws up her hands and she goes, ah! That was my clue.
Yes.
But then, the reveal, it was Tyrone. Perfect. A genuine jolt of shock, earned by how well the scene was shot. Friday, though, was unforgettable. The Becky reveal was deranged. 4 years undercover, everyone thinking she was dead. But I couldn't even care about the absurdity because Vicky Myers blew the doors off. Yes, she did. Watching Lisa process that her wife was alive after years of grief was gutting. You could see her unravel in real time, every flicker of rage, confusion, heartbreak laid bare. Alison King met her note for note, and together they lit up the screen. I very much agree. For the first time in ages, I felt like Corrie was telling a story that mattered. So yes, 2 episodes, but enough to remind me of both the heights Corrie can hit and the depths it can sink to. The David Shona twist, the stolen car sequence, the Swain drama. That's why I watch. Well, thank you very much, Cheeky, for your insights as always.
Yes.
Feedback is always welcome. Send us your thoughts and I'll probably read them out. Get us at thetalkofthestreet@gmail.com, or our DMs are open at Corrie Podcast. Oh, we love it when people write actual letters to us. Send us your proper mail. Large print postcards, please, to The Talk of the Street, PO Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, 48827. But please note that we reserve the right to edit feedback, but only in the interest of brevity.
Yes.
And now we'll podcast for coffee. See? Straight into it. Careful.
Friend of the podcast.
Tremendous salute, Helen.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard to Matthew S.
Matthew S.
Matthew S.
We got another dude. That's awesome.
Another Matthew.
Another Matthew.
Which is why...
Who I am assuming is a dude, but I could be wrong.
Who I'm referring to as Matthew S because we've got multiple Matthews now. Matthew S has become our first YouTube member.
What?
That's right, Helen. You can sign up to be a friend of the podcast on YouTube now.
What?
Because what we needed was 3 things to keep an eye on now.
Yes. And when you say we, you mean you.
I mean me. Yeah. Yeah, I'd set up the YouTube channel finally for members to be able to join, which means that I'll be able to put our classics episodes onto YouTube and our spoiler alerts onto YouTube just for the members. And if I didn't have any members, then I wouldn't rush to do that on a Friday night, but now we have members, I'm going to have to do that.
Yes, you will.
Which is fine.
Yes, it's why...
It's actually the desired outcome.
Correct.
Not complaining here.
It's why you do what you do.
Absolutely. So thank you ever so much, Matthew, for signing up. We very much appreciate it. And thank you also to Marge JT. Now, you may remember that Marge JT was already a friend of the podcast.
Yes.
But she has moved over to Patreon. And I think it's worth spending just a second talking about the differences between signing up on Ko-Fi and signing up on Patreon. If you sign up on Patreon, there's a little button that you can press that puts a RSS feed into your podcast provider.
Nice.
So if you are a friend of the podcast on Ko-Fi, you have to go into the Ko-Fi site to get the bonus content. If you're on Patreon, it just gets sent to your Apple Podcasts or whatever. So if that's important to you, the Patreon is the way to go.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah. As you listened to not a word of it.
I don't have to.
Imagine not even being a friend of your own podcast.
Are you a friend of the podcast?
No, but I listen to it like 3 times as I'm editing it. And you're asleep when you listen to it.
That's correct.
And you don't get the bonus content.
Yeah.
You're missing out. It's great.
I'm not, because I'm here when it's recorded.
Anyway, thank you to Matthew S. and to Marge JT. The podcast appreciates you.
Absolutely.
The Talk of the Street is and will always be free on your podcast provider and on YouTube's. But if you think a show is worth anything more than the time it takes to listen to it, and if you want to show your appreciation, you can buy us next week's coffee by going to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/The Talk of the Street. And if one show isn't enough for you, you can also sign up to be a friend of the podcast through the same link, where for as little as $2 a month. You can get access to the Talk of the Street Spoiler Alert, our weekly spoiler show, and the Talk of the Street Classics, our monthly review of a classic corrie episode. All that plus a mention in the closing credits of every show. And if Ko-Fi isn't your thing, we also have a Patreon site where you can show us some love for the same benefits. Sign up to be a friend of the podcast there at patreon.com/The Talk of the Street. And as I mentioned, you can also sign up on YouTube. youtube.com/The Talk of the Street podcast. Hit that join button.
Hit it.
Keep Matthew company.
Yes.
And if you watch it on YouTube, you get to see the little graphics that I make for each storyline.
Yes.
So, you know.
But not our faces. For that, you have to buy a coffee cup.
Yes.
Or a mouse pad.
I don't have it on a mouse pad. I should get it on a mouse pad.
Nobody uses mouse pads anymore.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, of course I do. I use a mouse pretty much all day, every day.
Interesting. I never use a mouse.
I've got 3 mice over there.
Eek!
But remember,
you
can always support the podcast for free and get us in front of new listeners by liking, subscribing, rating, and reviewing wherever you get your podcasts. All right, shall we dive in, my dear, to our shortened run through this week?
Yes, please.
The first storyline this week is the Platt Froglet.
Froglet makes me queasy.
Is that the name for a baby frog? It's a tadpole, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so it should be Platt Tadpole.
You do get small frogs, though, in the living trees. On Monday, Lily's trying to get out of school because she's got a sore tum-tum.
Uh-oh.
David, though, is having none of it.
Nope.
He's far too busy fixating on Swallow's recycling bin, and he barely registers when Audrey tells him that she heard Lily throwing up earlier.
David is a little old man, isn't he?
There's some posts on Twitter of David being the new Norris Cole, and there was a very excellent piece of photoshopping to put David's face on Norris Cole's baldy wee head.
They both are short.
It made me quite jelly that I hadn't thought of that.
Me too.
Yeah. So, this is all setting the scene for us to imagine that Lily is up the duff, which is a horrendous prospect.
Yes, absolutely horrendous. Yeah, and the alternative, Betsy being pregnant, also horrific.
Maybe slightly less horrific, though. But anyway, before he can react to that, he's got a call from the school telling him to come pick Lily up because she's been caught fighting.
No stomachache then.
So David storms off to do that. Back home, Lily just runs up the stairs as Sarah comes in under the pretense that her wash machine is on the blink, but really she's just looking for the gossip. Lily was fighting over a lad, which makes David sure that she's turning into him, or worse, Sarah.
Yeah.
He goes out to check the contents of his recycling again and is curious when he discovers a pregnancy test.
Ooh.
David can't wait to tell Sarah about this, saying that this obviously means that Betsy is up the duff. Sarah is loving the gossip, but wonders why David thinks it's from next door and maybe it's someone closer to home who's knocked up. After all, it is his recycling bin. She's year 8, says David. So was I, says Sarah.
Yeah.
And they argue loudly about which one of them was the biggest disappointment for Gail, while David goes through Lily's bag and then is caught when she comes downstairs. He demands to know who destroyed her future. She denies that the test was hers and storms back up the stairs again. Sarah is thrown out and goes to Nina's Rolls to tell Shona what happened, and it's clear that Shona has some idea about all this. So she goes home to find David on the beer already and in a mood about Lily, who he announces is pregnant as fuck. It's not Lily what's knocked up though, says Shona. It's me. And that is Revelation of the Week.
Well, it's a revelation of the week.
Oh, that's a joke, Helen.
Yeah. Remember a number of months ago, they did speak about trying for another kid, but then the house burned down.
Yeah, and she shagged Kit. Didn't she get the morning after pill?
Yes, for the whole Kit experience. Mm-hmm. Yes. But then, I mean, she's not getting the morning after pill for David, is she? If they have talked about...
We don't know really very much about this because that's as far as we get on Monday.
Correct.
And then we'll have to wait until Friday
Because there is no Wednesday.
to see how that's fallen out. David and Shona take the whole crew out to the bistro where Sam is apparently a server now.
Yeah. What's up with that? Are there no child labor laws in the United Kingdom?
He kind of fits the hipster vibe that Nick, I guess, is suddenly going for with the dungarees.
Yeah, he looks like he should be working in Starbucks.
They take him out to apologise to Lily, but when Shona doesn't take a drink, Sarah instantly works out what's going on, and she and Lily squee at the idea of Shona being pregnant while Audrey looks confused. Shona says they were trying to keep it quiet, and everyone ignores her.
Yes.
Sarah thinks this is finally some good Platt news. Back home, David has worked out that the baby is the size of a tree frog, and as he and Shona snuggle, he reveals that he's over the moon about this news. It's their own little froglet.
Oh.
And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Well, David made some splendid faces this week.
He really did.
So many different faces for confusion and disgust and old man shouting at cloud. Mm-hmm. Yes.
There was also a lovely little interaction between him and Tyrone when Tyrone said, well, I mean, it's just...
Yes.
And David
Dave's
says...
like, I was just about to say that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that.
Because that's a thing.
That's a thing.
I really wish that I was collecting David's... I mean, it's just... But
what's stopping you?
It's impossible to discover what episodes he said it in without going through every episode that David's been in and every scene. Yeah. And I'm not doing that.
No.
Somebody else can do that.
No.
You can do that.
No. I have more.
I think it would be moderately funny. It's one of those things that would be moderately funny, but in no way worth the effort that it would take to create it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like it's London.
Again, I don't know if that was worth the effort in creating it.
I think it was. We went viral. Or your meme went viral.
Yeah, it's still just moderately funny, though.
Ah. They used it in that Superman clip where Nicholas Hoult was lip syncing London, mm-hmm. as was Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnan.
I don't know.
She was marvelous Mrs. Maple. So anyway, back to Coronation Street.
Good news then.
I assume so, because we have heard them talk about wanting to have another kid. Mm-hmm. And
this would be their first kid that is...
together.
Both of theirs. Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. So that'd be nice. Just, don't let them run around cemeteries ever.
No. Please never do that.
And Max is out of the show. So unless he comes back with a new head at some point.
Yeah, it was an oddly pleasant outcome to a fairly amusing story.
Yeah.
We're expecting it to be Betsy. I wasn't expecting it to be Betsy. I was hoping it wasn't going to be Lily.
Betsy also clutches her stomach at one point.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Was that before or after we know that it's shown as though?
It was before.
Was it?
Yes, it was a red herring.
But neatly done, I think. There's the usual vomiting and sore tum-tum, which is normally
which we had with
the
Lily.
sign.
Yeah.
And this was another red herring. But I think because it was wrapped up in a fairly light-hearted David obsessing about his recycling bin all of a sudden storyline.
Yes.
That I don't know, it just worked.
He was never like this with Yasmin.
Well, maybe Yasmin never put her rubbish in his recycling bin. Because nobody's disagreeing that the Swain Carla household have been using his recycling bin. Nobody's arguing that.
Yeah, they make a lot of waste for 4 people. Although it's like last week when I was like, oh, this is not good. When, Betsy had all those boxes delivered to the house and Carla says, why do you order so many clothes? And she's like, well, I'll just send half of it back. And I'm like, no, that's bad for the environment. You're supposed to be of the generation that actually cares about climate change, Betsy. Don't do that. That's bad. It's very bad. Those clothes are just going to go in a landfill. It's not like you're going to resell them. Shame on you.
Betsy, in no way, though, is representative of, especially what you imagine Gen Z to be interested in. Because as we'll prove when we get to her storyline, or the whole Swallow storyline, her actions, I would say, consistently miss the mark over what a stereotypical Gen Z is. But to my point, a stereotype doesn't mean to say that everyone has to be like that. There are obviously outliers.
Right, yes. And actually, us older generations should care about climate change a little bit more than we do. But still, I don't know. I think Betsy is very representative of a kind of Gen Z person.
What, that love to get drunk and have sex? That kind?
Yeah. Well, not that part. But the way she talks to her mother, the kind of flippant way she talks to all adults, and her clothing choices, and the way she talks. Her use of slang.
I think she is a Coronation Street writer's idea of Gen Z more than she's like Gen Z. But anyway, this is the David storyline.
Yes, who is not a member of Gen Z.
And it's good that the recycling bin
has paid off.
Has a point.
Yeah.
Has a point to it. And it took a little while to get there. And
but
for the week where it looked like it was genuinely just about the recycling, it was quite entertaining. But when they found that pregnancy test, he was a happy little camper, wasn't he?
Yes, because he's like, ho, 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 Betsy's in trouble.
And that's just what my mum used to do, hang around the window and pull the blinds down a little bit and
watch
peek
the
around
neighbours.
The curtain and
yeah.
I loved doing that. I loved just seeing what was going on and then tell people what was going on. And nobody really cared what was going on.
No.
That's a wee shame.
It was funny when Sarah said, people wee on that to him, and he freaks out and goes and washes his hands. But his hand is on the lid that you take off and then you put back on once you're done. Mm-hmm. So that lid has not touched any urine, except in the inside when you put the lid back on, the part of the stick where you pee on.
I think Sarah's point, though, was that the pee gets everywhere.
Yeah, which makes me think that Sarah needs to make an appointment with her OB-GYN to have all of her bits checked out.
Or maybe one of the writers does. Anyway. Monitor your pee, folks. I think that's Helen's message of the week.
Or, if you're a woman and your pee gets everywhere.
Isn't it famous for not being really able to control it that great? Because that's one of the benefits of being a man.
Well, if you're sitting down on
Not that men have great aims, I have to say.
You're sitting down on the toilet, you have one steady stream, or you should only have one steady stream. And if you don't have one steady stream, then there's something going on. There's some blockage or something that you need to get checked out. So call your OB-GYN or your urologist today, Sarah.
We're not sponsored by gynecologists or the other thing that you said.
Urologists. That's a pee doctor, a bladder doctor.
Who decides to be a pee doctor?
I don't know. There's money to be made because most of your clients will be men who need their prostate removed.
Yeah.
Or, their balls jiggled. You haven't had your balls jiggled in a while by a doctor. Should maybe get those things checked out.
I actually had a little jiggle earlier on. I'm actually...
Your own hand does not count.
Oh, well. Thank goodness for that. All right, let's move on to our next storyline, Hope's new shoes. On Monday, Hope is trying to get out of school because her trainers are old and mucky, but Tyrone is having none of it. And in the roles, Evelyn, Cassie, Fizz and Tyrone are all chatting about Hope and her fucking trainers. Tyrone says he went to school with bread in his feet. He goes to the precinct, though, because he's worn down.
Bread bags on his feet. Yes, not actual bread. Did you ever do that? Did your mom ever put, especially if it was snowing or raining really heavily, put bread bags over your shoes so your shoes don't get wet?
No, just wore proper boots. So he goes to the precinct. Did yours?
Yeah.
So he goes to the precinct to buy Hope trainers because he's caved in.
Right,
As
yes.
per usual. Bloody Tyrone.
Bloody Tyrone. They
He's
don't even look all that nice.
He's such a sap.
They
Well, we
look
don't
generic.
we don't really get to see them all that clearly, do we?
Well,
But-
we do. Out of the box.
But on his way home, he gets hit by a car in another storyline and
Oh,
left
no!
for dead. Quick, someone call him an ambulance.
Tyrone, you're an ambulance.
But at the hospital, things aren't looking too hot for Tyrone's chances here. And I don't really think that I appreciate that all that much.
No.
Because I'm starting to think he might die. The way that everyone's reacting here, the way that the paramedics are reacting, the way that everyone's talking, it's not looking good for Tyrone.
He's got internal bleeding.
You think this is awful.
Yes.
And then it turns out, well, maybe it's not as awful as we were led to believe. Carla phones Fizz to tip her off and then goes to Nina's Rolls to tell Evelyn. And George, who's there for a salad because he's watching his weight, is suddenly very curious about who the driver could have been.
Because George saw a car go by earlier
He
today.
did. The whole crew and Roy wait at the hospital while Tyrone is taken for a scan for the inevitable bleed on the brain. Evelyn is so concerned she's playing charades when a nurse comes along with news about the patient, and that's how that's left. What a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Because on Friday, Tyrone has a few broken bones and he's probably going to need surgery in the next few days. But other than that, there's fuck all wrong with him. Kev goes to visit him, which sends Tyrone into a coma. He comes round though and explains that he got knocked down after buying Hope the fucking trainers that she wouldn't stop going on about. And Hope is suddenly feeling something that is close to guilt. But Fizz tells her that it wasn't her fault. It's the scumbags what were driving the car's fault. And maybe Hope's fault a wee bit. And that's as far as we get with that.
I did not expect it to be Tyrone
No, nor did I.
who got knocked down and didn't get back up again without help. Yeah, he wasn't even wearing his MSU t-shirt. I'm very disappointed in that.
I don't think he's ever wearing that again.
It was Santa Fe? Was it a Santa Fe t-shirt?
No, it's one that he's worn quite a bit.
Yeah. So it was
the
like an
Santa
American
Monica
thing.
Oil Company or something like that.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's
Tyrone is into fracking.
the least interesting part of this storyline.
Yeah. So well done to the show for completely blindsiding us with who was going to get run over by a car.
Well, it couldn't be Adam again, could it?
Well, no.
But
Or
like,
Sarah. Or who else has been hit by a car?
or that mop. Well, the mop was saved by Gary.
Right, yes. And it can't be Ted because Ted is also dead. And also,
Couldn't be Uncle Stephen.
Ted is also dead. Both Teds are dead.
It was Tyrone's turn.
It was Tyrone. Alphabetically, it was Tyrone's turn. Because Tyrone comes after Ted.
I'm honestly just a little peeved that they hinted at this being a sort of major storyline, that his health and his survival was in the balance, and it was never really the case.
It was interesting to see the whole family there together.
Yeah, I thought it was nice, and
We
even Dorin
don't-
was there.
Yes, even Dorin was there, and he was suspiciously quiet.
But very, very good at charades.
Yes,
He knew that Evelyn was doing horsey.
yes.
Yeah, he was good at that, but he was very restrained. But it's
Yeah.
a hospital.
Right, yeah,
Kids are quieter in a hospital.
that's true. You know what? I love seeing Fizz and Dorin together.
They look like a proper wee family.
They
I
do.
think.
They do.
And no one has mentioned Alina Pop in months.
No. And Fizz just seems very natural with that wee boy.
Now that she's got used to it,
Yeah.
she clearly cares very deeply for him.
Yes.
And he's very much at home
Yes.
with her.
Absolutely.
And it's almost a deliberate choice to remember that they're not related.
Yeah.
That they're just actors. Because the wee boy, I don't know, he's just incredibly trusting of the people in the show and the people around them. They've done a really good job
Yes.
acclimatising them, if that's the right word, with the cast that are supposedly his family, because it is so believable.
Yeah.
And he just sits and he smiles and shares in the jokes and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I liked how, as they're sitting in the waiting room, there is a sort of levity, that it isn't all doom and gloom and,
Right.
and worry, that they're sharing a laugh. And
They don't want to upset the kids.
yeah, it also is I think it's a truthful way of representing that.
Yeah.
That, you know, in dark moments, you take your mind off it by telling stories and making each other laugh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice, if tangentially important story. But you said on the spoiler alert show last week how all the stories this week are more or less interconnected
Correct.
in some way. And everything that we've talked about so far, and the next one that we'll talk about as well, are all in orbit of the main story of the week. But I thought this was really interesting. And as Cheeky said in our feedback section, I was surprised it was Tyrone. You were surprised it was Tyrone. We didn't really see it coming. So it's always good to be surprised like that.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to what is our penultimate storyline.
Wow.
Grand Theft Stupid. Why can't kids steal cars anymore? They're just so terrible at it. On Monday, Kev and Abby are back from...
Beautiful, beautiful Majorca.
And Kev is furious to see Carl working at the garage.
It's funny to see him furious while wearing a Hawaiian shirt. With a tan.
Yeah. Tanned Hawaiians can get angry too.
That's true.
Even short ones.
Yes.
Carl says he was just helping Tyrone, but Kev's not falling for it. He tells him to finish the day and then bugger off. Carl privately tells Abby that Tracy's still gunning for her cash. I can't believe we're still making a storyline out of this. This is what he's been dealing with since she left, he says haughtily. Well, that and boffing James. In the pub, Abby tells Carl about a call-out that might put him in Kev's good books. Carl, though, is sulking, so Abby promises that she didn't get her hole with Kev when she was away. Carl then gets a call from Fiona, or so he says, so he goes off and heads to Nina's Rolls, where he tells Brodie and Dylan that he has another job for them, interrupting Brodie chatting about how much Betsy fancies him. So, Dylan and Brodie are nicking a car, and they drive past George, and then they start to fight over Dylan's phone when he gets a call from Betsy, and Brodie's wondering, why is Dylan getting a call from Betsy?
Why not? They're friends.
Brodie is so up himself, though, that he thinks that Betsy is into him.
Right.
And what we don't know yet, because we haven't gone through this in the other storyline, is
Right.
that Betsy and Dylan have got to know each other in the biblical sense.
Yes. Which makes more sense than Brodie.
Does it?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're both blondes. And they're both closer in age than Betsy and Brodie are. But it's mostly
I
the
think
blonde
Dylan
thing.
and Brodie are the same age, aren't they?
I think Dylan's slightly older than Brodie. Like maybe like by a year or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just that Brodie just acts really young. He's very immature. Which is why he's not very good at stealing cars.
I guess. He's not good at stealing them, and Dylan's not that great at driving them. Because they drive to the precinct, nearly hit Betsy, but hit Tyrone and drive off. Although we don't see any of this from their perspective.
No, we really don't. I'm sure we'll see it in a flashback
Who?
next week. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. 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 Don't hit that button.
What button?
The button that you're going to hit. That one's fine.
Remember when we used to do Hard Debate?
Yes. Surprised.
Don't do that anymore.
I'm surprised you don't do that anymore. It's like the one good thing about Twitter is the polls.
Which is why I do the Yay Mez's thing.
Yeah. Don't be an asshole. Don't hit that
I
button.
can't help myself.
From being an asshole, that's true.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, though, if... Was it the same car?
Because at some point somebody said something about a Jeep, and I'm like, it wasn't
is
a
a
Jeep, it was a
4x4.
sedan. It was a sedan.
It was
wasn't
a Porsche.
Was it a Porsche?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't get a good
I
look
thought
at
it was anyway. And And I think it's weird that we don't see Dylan and Brodie and their reaction. Although, maybe it comes out later. I don't know. I just thought it was really weird that we don't actually see them reacting to potentially killing Tyrone. That the show doesn't think we'd be interested to see their reaction to them causing this.
Well,
and normally when you don't see somebody do something, that's because they didn't.
Right. I'm sure they're just trying to build suspense, and then will show us what really happened at a future date.
Meanwhile, Abby goes to room 101 at the rape hotel and tries to make it up to Carl by jumping on his bones.
Exactly like that.
Post bonk, Kev calls Abby, but Carl tosses the phone with gay abandon. He wants his hole again. Pronto. Abby limps back home later to hear the news of Tyrone, and then Kev is interested to know where she's been and what she's been doing all day. And we just see Abby looking kind of expressionless.
Yeah.
And we don't hear an answer.
No.
Another cliffhanger.
Yes.
From Monday. On Friday, Betsy's in speed dial talking to Dylan about poor Tyrone. Dylan thinks everything will be fine and is more interested to know if Betsy saw the driver, and she says that she didn't. In comes Brodie, and then in comes George, who advises that they all should go home. "You know my fucking dad," says Dylan, who really does need a slap. Brodie and Betsy go off, which allows George to observe that the driver of the car who hit Tyrone was Dylan's spitting image. Dylan denies everything, swearing on Sean's life.
That's not... That's
the value of Sean's life, I guess.
Yeah. Poor Sean.
And there's a strange little interaction between the three kids because Brodie feels like he doesn't want to get in between Dylan and Betsy, and Betsy then assumes that Dylan's been bragging about what happened, and then says to Dylan, "It was just a one-night thing," and then goes off with Brodie. And Dylan's like, "Wait, I'm sitting here, what the fuck?"
Well, she was... Yeah. I don't know.
So, like, it didn't mean...
anything to her. And
and,
yet
and maybe it didn't.
And yet when she talks to her mother about it, it kind of seems like it did mean something.
Because she's been trying to call him, and she's been trying to call him, and she's been trying to call him. And it's like, well, which is it? Or is it the fact that he didn't answer that makes her react
that
like
she
that?
That she thinks he told...
Because she leaves Dylan with the idea that she's going to go off to get her hold with Brodie now.
Don't think that's the insinuation there.
I think that's what Dylan's picking up from that.
I don't think so. I think it's just a walk.
Dylan swearing on Sean's life, though, was...
hilarious.
Was it?
Yes. It was funny. Because it just goes to show how little he thinks of his father.
Yeah. Kev and Abby are still upset about Tyrone, and Kev decides to go to the hospital to check on him. Please don't. Abby says for our benefit that her excuse for where she was earlier was the phone shop to get her screen replaced. Carl shows up like a bad smell, but when Abby sees him get a call from Dylan, she's instantly suspicious, and eventually Carl has to confess that he's got Dylan and Brodie talking cars for him. Abby demands that he stops this now, but Carl is getting pretty fucking sick of Abby's attitude here when she chose to turn a blind eye to the MOT thing, and she's left him to figure out how to pay off Tracy. So she apologises and everything's fine at the end. And he promises not to use Dylan and Brodie again. Fingers crossed. Wank. Dylan, meanwhile, has gone to Brodie to tell him about George suspecting him and suggests that they cut ties with Carl. Fuck that, says Brodie. Don't back down, double down. But as soon as they leave the house, Dylan is promptly arrested by PC Jess for dangerous driving and failure to report an accident. Brodie swears to Kit that he had nothing to do with it. And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yes. Do you think it was Dylan who ran Tyrone over?
I feel that's what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about how we don't see them. So
right.
So I thought that maybe it wasn't.
Yeah. Or maybe Brodie was driving.
Well, Brodie certainly wasn't driving the car that we saw. Dylan was driving, but Dylan had also put his phone in the little phone cradle thing, which was taking a goddamn liberty, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Imagine stealing somebody's car and using their phone cradle. Oh, people just got no manners anymore.
Oh, dear. Well, first of all, we do see Dylan and Brodie in a car. But when a car drives by George and George looks at it, you can't really see who's in the car.
No, you can. That's definitely Dylan that's in that car.
It seemed a little blurry to me, but maybe that's just YouTube on the big TV.
Maybe. No, that was definitely Dylan that George saw. George definitely saw Dylan. I'm just not sure that that's the car that hit Tyrone.
Or that they were the ones driving it when it hit Tyrone.
If it is the same car, then I'm almost sure that it would be Dylan that would be driving it.
How do you feel about yet another storyline where an irresponsible teenage male steals a car and then injures somebody?
Yeah, we've been here before.
We have been here before.
I'm instantly drawn to berate one Daniel Osborne. That's where my mind goes. Although he didn't injure anybody apart from himself.
Right. And Dylan was in the car with Mason as well, wasn't he?
Oh, when it hit.
Dylan is a common denominator.
Was it Izzy? Zelda. No. What the fuck was that wee lassie's name?
Stu's granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Not
Eliza.
Eliza.
I knew there was a Z in there somewhere.
Yeah, and it was an old-fashioned name.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Dylan was in that car. We never really saw who was in that car.
But he was hanging out with Mason at the time, wasn't he? Or was this still when Mason was bullying him for having a gay dad? I can't remember.
I think it was maybe before they were exactly in cahoots with each other.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, youngsters stealing cars and hitting people. And it never ends well. And this is just another example of it. I was never really all that bothered about Dylan one way or the other, but I really hate the way that his character is going, because we've already got and have had plenty of male characters that are just horrible, horrible characters. And now Dylan's turning another one. I know that Brody needs somebody like him to make his character work. Otherwise, he's just a lonely, stupid wee boy. The fact that he's got someone in his corner, I guess, fleshes him out a little bit. But that's the way Dylan was speaking to George. The way that Dylan was speaking to George was almost as bad as knocking down Tyrone, I felt.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of the way Brody spoke to his mum.
Oh, to Lou.
Yeah. It was pretty terrible as well. So both of these kids need to. Dylan should have just gone back to London with his mother.
Saved us all an enormous amount of bother.
He would have been so much better off.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in London he was getting bullied for having a gay dad as well. What is wrong with these representatives of Generation Z?
Oh, here we go.
Being homophobic and stuff. How dare they?
Yeah. Well, according to Stella, there's plenty of them. It was more interesting when Dylan looked to have got over his fear of Brody, was standing up to him. If anything, was threatening Brody. That was kind of interesting. And then all of a sudden they were friends.
Because Brody respects him now because he beat the crap out of him.
That's how you get respect.
Right. Well, that's why Brody respected his dad. Because his dad beat the crap out of him.
That's true. Brody was very quick to swear to Kit that he had nothing to do with it and was prepared to give Dylan an alibi at the end of it. Kit, I think, kind of sees through this. I get the impression that he maybe would, but once again, I'm wondering what Kit is going to do to cover this up, because Brody is getting away with an awful lot, which has given him the impression that he can get away with anything.
Yeah, which is not the impression that you want to give to a kid like that.
I don't think so. All right, we'll move on to our final storyline of the night, The Lonely Grave of Tia Wardley. On Monday, Carla has 18 balloons to celebrate Betsy's birthday. David thinks that they're to celebrate Carla's 81st birthday. Although the dirty stop out didn't come home last night, although no one seems to care, David advises them not to throw the old balloons out into his fucking recycling.
And then the one deflates. Because there's a hole in one.
Ho ho.
Ha ha.
It's a golf joke, everybody.
Yes, David appreciates the golf joke because he is an old man.
And in the rolls, a very tanned Shona gives Betsy some freebies. She gets a call from a mystery caller who makes her a little giddy. This is Betsy, I think. She finally gets home and gets her prezzies. It's a bottle of booze from Ryan, a carrot cake from Roy, and the booze looked to me to be Mad Dog 2020. And as soon as I see a bottle of Mad Dog 2020, my legs just lose all feeling.
It looked pink.
It was pink.
It was pink, just like my grapefruit juice.
Sambuca. But there was a pink Mad Dog, wasn't there? Watermelon, I think.
I remember the red one.
God, I remember the orange one.
The green one.
I don't remember a green one. I remember an orange one.
I remember the blue one. I don't know if I remember a pink one.
The orange one got you drunk from the feet up, which was an interesting experience. Some awful stuff. But but it's Sambuca, apparently.
Do you remember when we went to that 90s nostalgia meal and had Zima and Mad Dog 2020?
I do.
Yeah, good times.
There was absinthe in there as well, wasn't there? Betsy is super annoying on her birthday, it turns out. And there are 3 or 4 mentions of Becky in this scene.
Yes, you were correct. There is a pink Mad Dog 2020. It's Electric Melon.
Yeah. Betsy becomes more annoying as she instructs Ryan to get some fucking tunes on. When David comes in to get them to turn the music off and call Betsy Betty, Betsy heads off into town with some mates, much to Swain's chagrin, and more so when she ignores Swain's emotional blackmail on the matter. When Swain pushes it, Betsy reveals that she got her whole off of Dylan last night, and she accuses Swain of trying to control her life and how she's trying to make up for not being there for Becky when Becky died. This is mention number 15 of Becky now this episode. So she goes off to the precinct where she doesn't have any mates, and she keeps calling Dylan, who doesn't answer, and then she calls Swain, who also doesn't answer. But as she's leaving a message in which Becky is mentioned once again, she screams, "Ah!" as a stolen car comes careering round the corner and right for her. "Oh my God, you've killed Betsy!"
You bastards!
At home, Swain hears the message but doesn't think too much about it until she gets another call from Betsy. And then she and Carla zoom round to the precinct and run over Betsy for a second time. Carla
like
go round that corner was as fast as Dylan or whoever go round the corner the first time.
Right, and Leanne is just grateful she's not in the scene.
No, Betsy is fine. It's Tyrone who's been hit, and whoever did it, Dylan, has run. At the cop shop...
And knocked the shoes out of his hands.
That was actually quite affecting, I thought.
I thought it was very affecting as well. The shoes did not look like they were worth $100, though.
Well, no, because Tyrone has obviously bought the cheap knockoffs, or the cheap knockoff version. The Freshco's 4-stripe,
they were just
as
like
Hope called them.
Black shoes.
Yeah, just
it's
black
like,
trainers.
Is Hope going into the...
She's a ninja.
The restaurant business? Is she going to be a sous chef?
Do they wear black shoes?
Yes. Comfortable black shoes. It would be a good job for her, considering how much she loves fire and knives.
Yeah, I don't think I associate black shoes with sous chefs.
Or just all kitchen staff.
That's more ninjas, I think.
I don't think
Yeah,
ninjas...
Hope's a ninja.
I don't think ninjas wear shoes, do they?
Of course they do. They've got those wee black slippers.
Yeah, those are slippers, not shoes.
Slews are a type of slipper.
Slews are a type of slipper?
Slews are a type of shipper, I think you'll find, was my spoonerism of the week. At the cop shop, Costello sends Swain and Betsy home, and Kit promises to keep them abreast of developments. Costello then gets a call and covers the screen from Kit. Suspicious as fuck. Kit will later discover that the car involved in this incident has been torched. Whoever did this knew what they were doing.
A new police detective comes in that we've never seen before and tells him that the car's been torched.
When they get home, the alarm at the factory goes off, so Carla and Ryan go off to check.
Yes, and it's hilarious how nobody wants Carla to go alone, because remember what happened the last time you went alone?
She got booped in the head.
That's right.
And this leaves Swain and Betsy to mention Becky's name a few more times, and for Swain to give Betsy Becky's necklace as a birthday present. God, I bet they're wishing that they didn't make Betsy and Becky's name so similar.
It's true.
Betsy then goes off for a walk, leaving Swain on her own. So she gets wired into the Vino de Planck on her own, and it sounds like Carla's come home, but when Swain turns to greet her, she drops her glass and shits her unders. It isn't Carla, it's Becky fucking Swain, back from the dead. Hello, Lise. How long have we have been having this conversation about Becky coming back from the dead.
And how dumb a storyline it would be if that happened.
And I think you were on the "this is never going to happen" side of the fence.
I wasn't. This is never going to happen.
Oh,
I
is this rewriting history?
I was. It would be really stupid if this happened because it would be a terrible storyline. Is I think the way I feel about it, and I still do. It's like, this isn't Dallas. This isn't Knots Landing. This is Coronation Street. This is ridiculous.
I couldn't help myself, though, make a little Coronation Street Dallas crossover.
Yes, you did, which I appreciated.
And did you appreciate how the Bobby's mouth synced almost perfectly to the "Hello, Lise"?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a meme for a certain vintage, I think. But that worked out really well.
Remember when we went to Dallas?
I do. So, this has it been foreshadowed? Yes, I think it has. But this has been predicted by the fans for months now.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder where these ideas have their genesis, if there's like any insider knowledge here, because it feels like...
Or if the writers were influenced by the fans in some way.
Well...
Which happens.
I honestly believe that Swarley getting together was willed into existence by the fans.
Right. And that's why John Krasinski got to play Mr. Fantastic in one movie.
I'm sure that's the same thing.
Yes.
But yeah, this has been mentioned so many times on social media, and there's been very much a couple of groups of, no, this is never going to happen, or, yeah, this is a coming. And where it's been more obvious, I think, of late, is that the mentions of Becky for no good reason have been upped.
Yes.
And especially in this episode, she was mentioned, it felt like hundreds of times. And okay, so it's Betsy's 18th birthday. You think that she's going to get mentioned, but she was mentioned so often that it really did, it makes the viewer absolutely aware of that weird person that's standing in Swain's front room is going to be Becky.
Or
this
Tina
isn't going
Fey
to
in
be Tia
disguise.
Wardley. This isn't Tia Wardley. This is, and she was in the credits on Monday as Becky Swain. But as soon as she was on screen and the closing credits had finished, I just spent a little while wondering how they're going to explain this.
Yeah.
Because this needs to be explained perfectly.
Yeah. Do you feel like they hit the landing?
I don't.
Good, because neither do I.
I think that they reached to the easiest possible way we can explain this. But I think to the show's credit, and we'll speak about this, I guess, in some detail, Swain was almost a proxy for the audience in a lot of the scenes, because her incredulity sort of matches how any normal person would be reacting to this.
Right.
So I don't think that they made a decent enough case for the explanation, but I think Swain's reaction to it almost makes up for it. But anyway, we'll go through Friday and talk about it, I guess, as we're going.
Yes.
So Swain totally has a panic attack, and I think Vicky Myers is great over these couple of episodes. I think that Alison King is also great over these couple of episodes. I think Alison King plays it very cautiously, and it really, really worked for me.
Agreed.
So she's having a panic attack and she calls for Carla, but Becky insists that she's real. And to prove it, she takes Swain's hands and puts them on her boobs. Swain still refuses to believe that she's real and hyperventilates. Becky tries to comfort her, but Swain pushes her away. She scattered her ashes, for fuck's sake. What was that all about? Becky insists that she's the real deal. Well, what happened then? And suddenly Becky shuts up. Eventually, someone's made a cuppa. Swain wants to know where she's been, in hospital or a coma or held hostage for 4 years. But nah.
All perfectly reasonable.
But Becky's been in Spain. It wasn't a holiday, though.
No.
It wasn't a holiday.
No, she was undercover in Spain.
Couldn't trust anybody.
You're both police officers. This is one situation in which you probably would tell your spouse that you're going undercover in something.
Yeah.
And will be away for a while because you've gone undercover.
Well, this is it. This is not, okay, I'm undercover from 9 to 5 today. Oh, really? How does that work?
Right. But it's not just the undercover thing. It's also the witness protection thing, which typically when you go into the witness protection, your family goes with you. Your immediate family, your children.
This is my main complaint about it.
Yes.
But but we need a little bit more detail before we can start tearing this apart, I think.
We've all seen We're the Millers. They all go into the witness protection program. Even Will Poulter's big, massive, swollen testicles.
Swain twigs, because this means that Becky was in on it, whatever it was, that it was planned. Becky decides to briefly have a problem with Swain's new living arrangements, and she sniffs Betsy's clothes as a distraction.
Yeah,
But
it's like, stop it. That's Daniel's thing, sniffing clothes. How dare you?
Swain is in the mood and explains how traumatised Betsy was for years. She slept in my bed for years after this. So here's the long and short of it. Becky was working undercover in Curtis's gang, the meanest gang in the whole of Manchester, the sort of gang, Helen, who would give you a wrist burn as quick as look at you. And she didn't tell Swain about it.
Right, yeah.
And
also, we've never heard of them either.
And then her cover was blown, probably the uniform that gave it away, and she had to flee to somewhere sunny on the witness protection. And this is my main problem with it.
Yes.
Because if her cover's blown and they know who she is, then they know who her wife is, and they know who her kid is.
Right. So they would all have to go into witness protection together. And also, does witness protection put you in a different country when you've already left the EU?
4 years ago. Oh, they probably managed to sneak through somehow. One rule for one.
I mean, it's
another
just...
rule for others, quite
Yes.
clearly.
Absolutely.
But this is it. If the cover's blown, you come home, you say to Swain,
I was undercover.
Swain, I've been working undercover these past few months, and I've gone and fucking got my cover blown. Our lives are in enormous danger. We need to leave the country, and we need to leave tonight.
Yeah.
Her going off just makes sure that she's okay.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And this is something I don't think the storyline is backing away from. That Becky seems to be a very, very selfish person.
Right, but also the department has really fucked this up as well, because you'd think that whoever put her in witness protection would say, all right, we also need to protect your wife and kid.
Uh-huh.
There should be somebody higher up insisting that Swain and Betsy are also in danger, so also needs to go into witness protection. This is not something at that point, you know, your cover's blown. You tell your wife, and you all go away in witness protection.
Yeah. You're all going to Spain. Suck
by
it
yourself. Oh.
And I'm
a
little disappointed that the show, or Swain, who admits this week that she's not the greatest detective in the world, doesn't put these things together and say, well, how come we weren't in danger? Because Becky keeps on saying that she did this to keep Swain out of danger. But if her cover's blown...
That means they know who she is. That means they know that you're married to another woman and you have a child.
And if this Curtis gang is such a mean, bad, dangerous gang, they've probably got people on the police under their control, so that they could probably find all this detail out.
Yeah, well, obviously Costello is in on it in some way. underhanded and not just knowing about the cover.
Is it?
Yeah, it feels like he is maybe involved with this gang as well as...
Well, that wouldn't make any sense because Costello works with Swain.
Right. But he's been covering stuff up a lot and telling them not to pick at that scab. So there's something dodgy about Costello one way or the other. And it's not just covering up the fact that Becky was undercover and then her cover was blown and then she had to go to Spain.
It gets worse, though.
It does get worse.
Becky sees Swain's ring and is immediately upset.
But not like that.
And then Carla comes in, and Becky's instinct, her first instinct, is to lie and to say that she is just one of Swain's former co-workers. But Swain isn't having any of that and introduces her dead wife. Swain remembers trying to get some recognition for Becky dying in the line of duty and being a hero and everything, but everyone was in on it, and they all must have laughed at her. Suddenly, Becky wants to see Betsy, but Swain denies her and storms off, leaving Carla to entertain her fiancé's wife.
Reasonable. Reasonable to refuse Becky seeing Betsy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Reasonable, though, to leave Carla
right
with Becky, though.
No, absolutely not.
And then Roy shows up. He's wanting to warn Carla that he saw Swain's dead wife in the hospital earlier. And I'm like, wait, how? What? Because he's seen the photograph.
Yes, and when he sees the photograph, that's when he starts to get weird. Remember? He starts to get weird and like
remember
fucks
the
off.
point that Roy started to get weird.
Like he brings the carrot cake, and okay, there is a weird part ahead of it where he says he needs his cake plate back. But then they're talking about Becky, and Swain points to the picture, and that's when Roy's face just changes ever so slightly.
Because Roy can remember the face of the person that he saw for 3 seconds
and
earlier.
Talked to the day before.
And shared
Talk about
2
shoes.
words with each other.
Yeah, they were talking about shoes. It's Roy. Roy has...
It's a stretch. Even for Roy, I
Roy
think.
has a photographic memory.
He's no Sheldon.
Are you
No, he is
sure?
a little bit Sheldon. Carla poo-poos it, thinking Roy needs to get new glasses. He's just got new glasses.
Right. And also, stop gaslighting him, Carly. You know the truth. You could let Roy in on it.
He storms off in a huff that she doesn't believe him, and sure that he's right. Back inside, Carla congratulates Becky on her sterling undercover work, and she finds Swain on Lizzie's tramp tracker app. Remember Lizzie's tramp tracker?
You can't speak tonight.
Remember Lizzie's tramp tracker app?
Yep.
Turns out that Swain's at Teddy Bear Woods. So Carla and Becky go and find her sitting on a bench that has a plaque for Becky on it. Swain says she came here after Becky's funeral, and now she wonders whose ashes that they scattered. Becky claims not to know anything about that, saying that was above her pay grade. She accepts that Swain's future is with Carla, but tells her that she can't stop her seeing Betsy. Try me, says Swain, and I'll kill you. You and your precious career get not 1 ounce of my sympathy. Swain also doesn't believe that Becky doesn't know who was in that coffin, and so eventually it comes out, and of course, that this was the end of the real Tia Wardley. Which makes me wonder how Aunt from Ant and Dec would know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd wonder,
None
wouldn't
of
you?
this has got anything to do with Aunt from Ant and Dec.
Unless he was also in Curtis's gang.
Well, they wouldn't know about Tia Wardley. This is something that's purely for the cops.
Right. But wasn't Tia Wardley also a member of that gang? Maybe?
Not according to anything that we learned tonight, she wasn't. She was a homeless loner who was just thrown into a coffin because the body was unclaimed. Because that's what the police do.
Right, yes. Well,
They just burn cadavers left and right.
This just feels like the whole department is bent. There's not a single good cop except for maybe Jess and the man who spoke but did not get a name.
The man who thinks that setting fire to a car means that this was a professional job because they know what they were doing. Yeah, they set a car on fire.
It's actually not hard to set a car on fire.
No,
it's filled with gasoline.
And if you want to get rid of it, it's maybe the first thing that you think of doing.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Aunt Romantic Dick would know the name Tia Wardley.
Unless, like I said, Costello is dirty and in on this terrifying gang as well.
She was a homeless woman who got killed in a convenient car crash. Becky tries not to say it, but knows that the woman that they met last week was set up by Costello, and she seems to know about this meeting. Again, she says it was all for Swain's protection. And we learn it was Costello who identified Becky's body, again for Swain's protection.
Yep.
Swain still refuses to believe that this was Becky's only option, or a viable option. Becky admits to want to be the hero, to bring Curtis's gang to justice, but she was a fucking moron to think that because she's lost her family. Well, tough shit, says Swain.
And Curtis is still out there somewhere.
No, he got killed.
Did he?
She said that. Got killed in a contract killing just 2 weeks ago.
Interesting. Just 2 weeks ago, really?
That's what she said.
That's what
Swain said, yeah. Because all the guys from the station went...
Oh, and they had a
out,
party. Yeah, they went out drinking, whooping it up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that now. But again, he was killed. He wasn't brought in by the police and given justice.
No.
So that sucks.
And it's kind of convenient that loose end is now
Firmly
covered
tied,
off.
yeah.
Well, tough shit, says Swain, and she wanders off, once again leaving Carla with her wife, but Carla quickly follows on before Roy shows up again. Becky doesn't like Teddy Bear Woods on her own that much, so she follows too. Swain wants to know why. Becky says it hurt too much, and she couldn't stop thinking about her list with Betsy, and she's supposed to be in Paris with her right now. Swain tells her that she's dead, and she can stay dead. Carla suggests that they've spent enough of their location budget on this, and offers them to continue it at the factory, even though neither of them work there. Meanwhile, at home, Betsy's feeling sorry for herself and tells Ryan about her dead mum's necklace. Necklace of the week!
Yes, it's got an eyeball on it.
Betsy doesn't know that Becky's alive, so thinks that they're supposed to keep on mentioning her. So that happens for a while.
Yeah.
At the factory, Becky reiterates that all she wants is to have a relationship with Betsy.
Why are they in the factory? Why are they talking in the factory?
Because, like I said, what did I say?
Well, they don't want to be talking at home because Betsy could walk in.
Yeah.
So the go-to place is now the factory.
They were in the woods. They should just stay in the woods.
Yeah, because Betsy also works at the factory. She could walk in on any time.
Not on her 18th.
No, but still, maybe she left something in her locker that she needs for her 18th birthday.
She does like to leave things in her locker. At the factory, Becky reiterates that all she wants is to have a relationship with Betsy. It doesn't want to come between Swain and Carla. Carla goes home to check on Betsy and leaves Swain with Becky. Swain remains super upset, and Becky tries to take her hand, but Swain pushes her away while Becky apologises. She says that she made the wrong decision. Maybe there was another way. Yes, there was. You take Swain and Betsy and you all go to Swain.
Right, exactly.
Swain holds Becky's face, which I don't think should be happening. And then Becky says walking away from Betsy was pain she'd never known. Swain thinks Betsy would say the same. That was a good line. Back home, Betsy has passed out on the couch from sadness, Ryan reckons, and Zambuca. Carla keeps the news from him. And back at the factory, Becky makes another play for getting to see Betsy. Swain is super angry again, says that Becky can't be trusted and thinks that she's lost her mind, and tells her once again to stay the fuck away, and then throws her out of the factory where neither of them work. She goes home, and Carla asks what she can do to make this better, and the answer is a good old-fashioned hug, and maybe a quick footer later. And that is how we end this week's episodes.
Yes. Oof. So stupid. So fucking stupid. It was going to be very, very difficult to do the whole dead wife comes back thing.
Yeah, the whole dead wife comes back to life thing, yeah.
Yeah. Even if they're all fans of Dallas, it's dumb. But what's hilarious is all the other options that Lisa said, like she got amnesia or she was in a coma or was kidnapped, all of those would be far more viable options than I was undercover in a gang when I worked in the same police department as you did. And yet you didn't know I was undercover in a gang, which does not make sense because, again, they work in the same department together. And then my cover was blown and I was in witness protection program, which shipped me off to a different country without you. It's like the most far-fetched of any of those options. I would have gone for coma.
But then...
Or maybe kidnapping.
But there's the small business of the ashes.
Yeah. There is that, isn't there?
Coma typically doesn't leave a set of ashes behind to get dispersed.
Yeah. Kidnapping then.
So they...
If she was kidnapped by this gang and locked up by this gang, and if Costello is the dirty cop who is working for the gang, then Costello would have covered it up in some way, like burning up a homeless person. A dead homeless person.
Well,
you know what?
Let's hope so.
It doesn't get any better when you qualify it.
No, but let's hope that Tia Wardley was dead before they
incinerated her. Yes.
Yeah.
One can hope.
This has all the makings of... We had no intention of doing the storyline. So everything at the start where Swain was still mourning the loss of Becky was, to the storyline's purpose, genuine. She really did die. Her ashes really were scattered. Betsy really does hold a grudge about this whole thing and how it played out and all the tension between the two of them is all because Becky's dead. But at some point, someone in a room somewhere has said, but what if she isn't?
Yeah, somebody who has been, reading opinions on Twitter a little too much.
Or read The Partner by John Grisham, which this has some similarities with.
Is a fan of Dallas.
Well, how are we going to get rid of the whole ashes thing? Well, we'll just make it that the cops faked her death for her and sent her off to Spain. But wouldn't she take Swain and Betsy with her? We'll just ignore that and hope no one notices.
They should know better by now that we always notice.
Everyone notices. So it feels very much like a retrofit that we need to make the dead Becky storyline work somehow, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to have Swain disbelieving it, calling it stupid, saying that there are other options, and all of these things that the viewer is saying, and all those things are true. But at the end of the day, Swain's got to accept that she's standing facing her former wife. And we are where we are, and it is what it is.
It is what it is. Can't you go to prison for faking your own death?
I think so.
Yeah,
you can certainly go to prison for preventing a rightful burial.
Right. Yes, and thwarting the cause of justice.
But when it's the cops that are doing that,
it makes it even worse.
This is where the line of duty thing comes in.
It makes it even worse. Let's be honest. It makes it even worse.
So, there is a part of me that thinks everything we heard this week out of Becky's mouth is a lie.
I mean, we've watched The Departed recently enough this year, so we know how it works when somebody goes undercover. There's typically two other cops in a truck somewhere listening in on them. Right. There's more than one person in the department who's aware of the undercover thing. It's an undercover... They're support people. Feeding information to the person, being there if they need to get pulled out very quickly, all of that stuff. And also the person who's undercover has to go back in to the department on occasion.
The department.
Yes, the department where they filmed The Departed.
These are Boston accents.
They are.
These are free.
Right, yes. They're American Boston accents. I don't know how people talk in Boston.
Who are, probably.
Yeah, which is similar. It's typically a task force. It's not just one person going undercover and then maybe her boss knows as well.
Oh, it's super expensive to put somebody undercover because of all the support stuff.
There's a lot of support stuff, which, again, you would think Lisa would know about because she's also a cop who works in that same department.
So isn't it more believable that Becky is a wrong-un?
Yeah.
Really is just part of the gang, Curtis's gang, and made off with a large sum of money or whatever, and fled, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been having a lot of trouble with my past tenses today. And fled to Spain.
Right, and gave Costello a cut.
And Costello's getting a cut.
Yeah.
So this whole storyline has been invented because something's happened that's made Becky needs to come home for something that who knows what it is, who cares what it is.
Right. And it's going to disrupt Swarla, and it's going to get people up in arms, and they're going to be talking about it.
And the plan is at stake here. The plan that keeps Costello and Becky rich. So she comes up with this cockamamie story of working undercover. And that's why she left. That makes more sense to me.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
And everything that we've learned about Becky so far is, I would say, negative. She only starts to talk about Betsy when Swain's putting her under pressure. And she never has... She's had fucking 4 years to think about this. And she comes back and she doesn't know how to tell Swain where she's been or what's happened or what the real story is. She's humming and she's hawing about it. She's delaying telling her. Really? You've had 4 years to think about this and this is the best that you can do?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something not right here.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Indeed. However, I really enjoyed it.
Well, that makes one of us.
I thought it was great fun.
Well, that makes one of us.
I thought the scenes where Swain just opening up and giving it both barrels to Becky, I thought were great. And I was quite impressed with Becky as well, in terms of the character that she was playing. I really loved Carla's really, really weird position in all of this.
Yeah.
Because she's in the room, she's in the park, she's listening to these two people. One of them she doesn't know.
And one of them she wants to get married to.
And she's sitting and she's got her back turned to them quite a lot at the time. She's removed herself from...
Right, she's giving them privacy.
Which I thought was a great touch.
Yeah.
And there's something about when Swain says that to Becky that you were the love of my life, and it cuts to Carla, and that seems to cut Carla to the quick a little bit.
Yes.
But everything that she did and said to kind of facilitate this, I thought was a very considerate and caring thing for Carla to do. And it showed a great part of Carla's character. And what also showed us a great part of Carla's character is when she's the one that goes home for Betsy.
Yes.
And she's the one that takes care of Betsy. And she's the one that makes sure that Betsy's okay. And she's there with Ryan and...
Uncle Rai.
And the three of them are a great wee family.
Yeah.
So I think Carla comes out of this exceptionally well.
Maybe a little too well?
No, I'm not going to complain about that.
Don't you think Carla should be a little more upset about all of this?
I think she is upset about it, but I think she's saying to herself, there's a time and a place. And I've got to process all this first before I figure out exactly how I think about it.
Yeah. There was a part of me that was kind of surprised she didn't tell Ryan. Of course, Betsy's in the room, but she's asleep.
Well, as she though, you can't really trust Betsy.
No, that's true. Yeah. Stupid.
You look scunnered with the whole thing.
I don't like it. Because like you said, it feels like a retrofit, and the show historically has been very clunky when it comes to retrofits.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that as well. And as much as I hated Toya's baby,
You hated Toya's dead baby Rose?
I did. Fucking
Hated
Rose, man.
that baby. How dare that baby exist?
Now that it's sufficiently far in the past, I'm probably looking back on it slightly more favourably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if this is how we leave it, if this is actually canon of the story of Becky, then I'm not going to be happy.
No.
But for now, I think I can get on board with it to see where it goes. And honestly, in an episode that was primarily these two women arguing with each other and going through a range of emotions, or really Swain going through a range of emotions, I thought it worked on that level. If you ignore everything else from the background of it, Swain's pain at Becky felt very real and believable. And I do think that Vicky knocked it out of the park.
Yes. I think so too.
Oh well.
Oh well.
That was the week that was Coronation Street.
Yeah, it was.
Helen, tell me, what was your moment of the week?
I kind of feel like it's the Happy Families scene where Betsy's opening her presents and Ryan is there and Roy is there. And, you know, they just feel like this really kind of happy, blended family.
Betsy was super annoying though.
She's 18.
What's your point?
18-year-olds are annoying. I just liked it because it seemed like they were really coalescing as a family unit. Of course, it all goes to shit just a few scenes afterwards. And I also liked it because, you know, well, Betsy and Swain kind of go head to head about all of this stuff. Betsy does tell her mom that she slept with Dylan, you know, and some other stuff. And she doesn't tell her like in a really angry voice or anything. She doesn't really want to tell her, but she does tell her. And that's why she kind of wants to go out and just be with her friends and stuff. And then later on, she leaves a voice message for Swain. Like she's had some time to clear her head. And of course, that's when she almost gets hit by a car. But still, it felt like we got a level of maturity from Betsy that we haven't yet seen.
Quite telling that she left to meet friends and those friends do not exist.
Correct. Or those friends are Dylan, who's in the process of stealing a car. Yeah. Yeah, because who would her friends be? Sabrina.
Friends from college.
Where's Sabrina? Sabrina was her friend. And they got rid of her and Gav.
So she got drunk on her own in a precinct on her 18th birthday.
Well, she was drunk from the Sambuca that she was drinking at home.
I think she got further drunk.
Well, she sobered up very quickly when she saw Tyrone hit by a car.
I'll do it.
That'll do it.
All right. Controversially, the little party thing, I guess.
Well, what do you think is moment of the week?
Well, I think it was probably the Teddy Bear Woods bit that I really enjoyed.
Which I hated. Because I hate this whole storyline. I liked the joy before this whole thing goes to shit. But if you want to do the Teddy Bear Park, that's fine too. I mean, it still is involving Swain and Carla. Just no Betsy or Rai.
Yeah, I don't mind eliminating Betsy from it because she really did annoy me an awful lot.
She didn't annoy me at all this week.
No,
I
the
thought
way
she was very believable.
Cutting about with the Sambuca and trying to get Roy to drink it and then going to the precinct on her own. It just... I'll fucking grow up.
You know, the way Betsy shows affection is by teasing people. We know this. That's how she shows affection. So
yeah, she's an
she
asshole.
really does love Roy, and she loves it. She's really touched when he bakes her a carrot cake and brings it over because there was no carrot cake in the shop, and he knows how much she loves his carrot cake.
No, I typically leave moment of the week up to you, and
go ahead, just give it to the teddy bear picnic. I don't care.
The teddy bear picnic. But if you don't care, I'm not going to give it to it. So it's a stupid party thing that happens on Monday or whatever with Betsy being an asshole. Is our
Betsy's birthday party.
Oh no! I'm on the wrong board. I'm never doing this deliberately. These are always genuine accidents.
Moment of the week.
Moment of the week.
I guess I can get on board because David gets involved in it and
Yes.
calls Betsy Betty. I can get on board with that. What's your boring moment of the week?
It's really tough with only 2 episodes, which is basically just 1.5 storylines. Is it Abby and Carl having sex again?
God, it's so boring.
Bring back James.
When we see that shot from above of that now infamous bed that Carl's got in room 101,
It's seen a lot of action.
it's like, God, we're using this camera angle again, and we've got the white of the duvet against their skin, and
Their pale, pale skin.
Abby's just back from beautiful, beautiful Majorca. Yeah, I'm getting absolutely sick of those scenes.
I
Thank
would
you.
much, much rather see more sex scenes between Carl and James, if I'm honest. That's interesting to me.
In the style of Twinless, perhaps. Go see Twinless.
Yes, go see Twinless.
But yeah, Carl and Abby constantly getting their hole is just snooze fest. That's our
Boring moment of the week.
yeah, and rightfully so.
Yay!
Over to our Twitter followers now who vote to let us know what they thought of this week's episodes. And the vote is this. Zzz, 22.8%.
I expected that to be higher.
Meh, 16.5%.
What?
And yay, 60.8%.
What?
Honestly, I thought it was a good week.
The storyline is so stupid, though.
Yes.
I hate the storyline. I want it to go away.
Join us. Get on the groovy train.
No. Or the gravy train.
Anne writes, acting masterclass from Vicky Myers tonight. Really not sure what I think of the Becky reveal other than a soap should not have this big a control over my emotional well-being. Also happy to provide Lisa an alibi if she's carrying out her threat to kill that bitch. Well, thank you very much, Anne, for that. We do not take these thoughts or results into account when we are rating this story or these episodes for ourselves.
Correct.
So, Helen, what is your score out of 10 this week? We've been 7s and 8s, I think, the past couple of weeks.
6.
A 6.
A 6.
I think a 7.5 for me again.
That's fine.
I enjoyed it.
I did not.
I enjoyed it more after Friday, I think. I was having trouble with it on Monday, but there was so much else that was going on that was really good fun. I think it was a fun week. And finally we can stop asking, is Becky really alive?
Yeah.
At least now we know that she is.
We know.
But we think that she's up to something. And none of it good.
No.
All right, we will wrap this one up then. This episode was brought to you with thanks to our friends of the podcast. Daisy, French Helen, Pickles, DT, Wendy, Noel, Canadian Helen, Christy, Shandy, English Victoria, Aurora Yvonne, Heather Westerfield, Russell Whiting, Jackie B, Brittany Porter, Laurie Anna, Tina, Stephen, Leah, Tara J, Fiona B, Canadian Jennifer, Josephine Otsingy, Anne Greenwood, Trish R, Sarah Purbrick, Ali Q, Hunker Munker, Darren, the artist formerly known as Seal My Fridge,
Woohoo!
Pamela, Marge JT, Tom Ambrose, Christopher Anstey, Terry and L.A., Joe T, Corrie Dales, Matthew McKinney, Ozzy Alley,
Oi, oi, oi.
Welsh Emma, and Matthew S. Thank you ever so much for your support, folks. We very much appreciate it. If you've ever faked your death unconvincingly for 4 years, write in to tell us about it. We're the talkofthestreet@gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky, or you can reach us the old-fashioned way, the Talk of the Street, P.O. Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, 48827. Our spoiler show will be available shortly after this one, and in September's classics we're talking about episode 638. Get access to this exclusive content by becoming a friend of the podcast at ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com/the Talk of the Street, patreon.com/the Talk of the Street, or youtube.com/the Talk of the Street podcast. Check out voggle.co.uk for links to our merch store, YouTube channel and blog. And if you're so inclined, please leave a rating and a review on the iTunes or your podcast provider of choice. And be sure to check out our pop culture sister podcast, The List of Lists.
Alexander Hamilton.
Thanks for making it to the end of another episode, and we will be back next week with more
Talk of the Street.
Talk of the Street.
Bye.
Cheerio.